recently posted this video where I talk about eating nearly double the calories I did when I was 50 pounds heavier, which was met with this comment. Well, why do I weigh more than I want to weigh eating over 2,000 calories? And this comment hit hard because I used to be that person, constantly frustrated, wondering why nothing worked for me when it seemed so easy for everyone else. But this is the exact reason so many women stay stuck in low-calorie diets, burning out long before they ever reach their goals. I get it, because I spent decades thinking that I had to starve myself in order to lose weight, which is a belief I held for more than 30 years. But the after me definitely has a thing or two to teach the before me, since these days I eat 2,400 calories to maintain my weight, which is 50 pounds lower than when I was struggling with 1,300 calorie diets, always feeling stressed out and hangry. Before you roll your eyes thinking that I'm just one of those naturally thin girls, trust me, I'm not. I started dieting at age 12 and didn't figure this out until I was 42. That's 30 years of struggle that you won't have to deal with, since in this video, I'll show you how some people can eat more while weighing less and how you can earn the right to do the same. Earn being the key word here, but we'll get back to that in a minute. First, picture this. There's a woman sitting in a coffee shop playing music as you slowly sip your caramel mocha latte, which, by the way, isn't helping your fat loss efforts, since that's like 450 liquid calories headed straight for your thighs. But getting back to my original point, Taylor Swift also makes music. But should the coffee shop musician make as much money as Taylor Swift, who just finished the biggest tour of all time? Of course not. They're not putting in the same effort, they don't have the same skill level, and they're not reaching the same audience. The same thing is true with fat loss. If you want to eat 2,000 calories to lose weight or 2,400 to maintain like I do, then you have to earn it. You can't just say, well, she eats 2,000 calories and loses weight, so should I, without doing any of the work that makes eating more possible. But with all of these fad diets that only lead to you losing a few pounds of water weight before giving up and regaining every pound, you're never really taught how to eat more while losing weight, which is where I come in. Because I'm about to show you how you too can earn those extra calories that make your fat loss efforts way more sustainable. When I relied solely on keto to lose weight, I never even considered strength training, because I was told that if I just ate more fat, that the fat on my body would just melt away, which seemed like it was true, at least until it wasn't. Because after following keto for too long, my stress hormones revolted, leading to me rapidly regaining 50 pounds no matter how low I cut carbs. Regaining the weight I worked so hard to lose put me in this place that was so desperate that I thought I'd never be at a healthy weight again. Because if I couldn't even get keto to work, what hope did I have? Even though I hit rock bottom, having far too many thoughts like, well, I'm over 40, so this is just how it has to be. And why does it really matter if I lose weight? I'm married and have kids, so who cares? But the truth is, deep down, I cared. I remember standing in my closet, trying on outfit after outfit for a dinner with friends, having to settle for a shirt that clung to every fat roll that I was trying to hide. I'd hide in the back of every family photo, doing whatever I could to cover up my stomach. And I was constantly shopping for flowy shirts and swimsuits to hide everything I hated about my body. I know I can't be the only one who's dealt with that frustration of working so hard, but feeling like your body is fighting against you. And this wasn't the life that I wanted for the next 40 or 50 years. That's when I realized that I needed a completely different approach if I ever wanted to get back to a healthy weight. So this time, I did something that I never tried. I added strength training as the cornerstone of my fat loss plan. And by cornerstone, that just means I added 3 full body workouts each week so I could build my metabolism up, which is a routine that I have stuck with for more than 3 years. And more muscle means my metabolism burns more calories around the clock, even while I'm just sitting around scrolling my phone or binge watching The Housewives, because I built the muscle to do so. Here's the reality of the situation. For every 10 pounds of muscle you gain, you're estimated to burn an extra 50 to 70 calories per day, even if you're just sitting on the couch, which doesn't sound like much. But if everything else stays the same, you eat at maintenance and your activity is steady, you'll lose an extra 5 to 7 pounds of fat in a year, just from having more muscle. And that doesn't even account for the time that you're spending on actively building muscle, because once you realize how beneficial strength training is, you're going to want to build all of the muscle. Since muscle takes more energy to maintain, it burns more calories than fat, which means the more muscle you have, the more you can eat while losing and maintaining your weight. But building muscle is only part of the equation. Because even though, yes, you will burn more calories at rest, that doesn't mean that you should sit around on your butt all day. Because being more active also plays a role in your fat loss equation. When I first set out to lose 50 pounds, I was only averaging 3,000 steps a day, which put me in the sedentary category, even though I was at the gym nearly every day. Even if you bust your butt, huffing and puffing your way through another workout where you are dripping sweat, that's what? Maybe 30 minutes of your day? But the real truth is, 30 minutes of huffing and puffing doesn't make up for 23 hours of sitting on your butt. Well, that doesn't mean that you have to be as active as me, who averages a solid 15,000 steps most days. You do need to be more active throughout the day if you want to eat more while losing fat. For me, 15,000 steps means walking at my treadmill desk while working for up to 90 minutes a day. And I aim for a burst of activity at least once an hour, working on mobility, doing 2 to 3 minutes of push-ups, or even just walking to the further bathroom in my house. But also, some days that means busting out a 30-minute sprint interval training session on the Stairmaster, followed by another hour at my desk treadmill. For someone my size, getting around 15,000 steps burns 600 to 700 extra calories per day. And even though you should never eat exercise calories back, because that's the fastest way to find yourself in a fat loss stall, those calories are factored into how much I can eat while losing or maintaining my weight. But even if you're not consistently moving like me, if you work up to 8 or 10,000 steps a day, you can still easily burn an extra 300 or 400 calories, which means you also get to eat more while losing fat. Now, if you're thinking, I'll just keep eating less so I can sit on the couch more, there's tons of other health benefits that come with walking. This includes appetite suppression, which makes it way easier to stay in your calorie deficit, so this isn't a swap that I'd personally make. And even though getting more of the right activity will move you closer to eating more while losing fat, there's another piece that most people completely ignore. Even though calories in versus calories out is the general equation most people need to follow in order to get results, there's a little more to it than just how many calories you eat. Back when I was following keto, I was eating at least 100 grams of fat each day, which didn't really leave a lot of room for carbs or protein. But when we look at the thermic effect of food, meaning which macros lead to the greatest amount of calories burned through digestion, fat is the lowest with only 0 to 3% of calories burned. So let's say eat 100 grams of fat. Every gram of fat contains 9 calories, which means I'm only burning between 9 to 27 calories per day digesting what I eat. But now that I've switched my approach to a minimum of 150 grams of protein every day, which is the macro with the highest thermic effect, coming in at you burning 20 to 30% of the calories you eat just through digestion, now I'm burning between 120 to 180 calories a day just because I switched from high fat to a high protein diet. Again, these are not mind-blowing numbers that will help you lose 25 pounds by next month. But over time, every little bit starts to add up. So let's actually add it up to see the difference that it makes. Taking the high end of both macros, swapping more protein for my previous high-fat diet, that means I could burn the equivalent of nearly 16 pounds of fat just by switching to a high-protein diet, which is actually only 30 to 40% of my daily calories. So it's not even that high in protein, but it's actually more of a balanced diet. Once you add the 7 pounds I'm burning from adding 10 pounds of muscle, that's 23 pounds of fat that I could lose in a year just from eating more protein while hitting the gym 3 days a week. And I haven't even factored in all of that extra walking. But let's not stop there, because there is another mistake that kept me stuck for years. Back when I was following keto, intermittent fasting, Weight Watchers, or name any diet where you drop calories really low just to lose weight as fast as you can, sure, my scale dropped quickly those first few weeks with these big calorie drops. But a few weeks in, the same thing always happened. I'd end up in another never-ending weight loss stall. If you're nodding along thinking, yeah, that's me, you know how frustrating this is. Because when you're already eating only 12 or 1300 calories a day, there's not really anywhere to go to break the stall. When you jump straight into these huge calorie cuts to speed up your weight loss, your body adapts right along with you. Which means soon enough, 12 or 1300 calories won't be a calorie deficit. It actually becomes your new maintenance. So instead of jumping into another massive calorie cut, dropping from maintaining at 2400 calories to only eating 1300, I decided on a moderate deficit, eating only 4 to 500 less calories per day. Which sure, that means it'll take longer to reach your goal. But it is far more sustainable since you won't find yourself constantly snapping at your family because all you want is a freaking chicken wing. Plus, if you do stall at some point, you'll actually have room to cut another 1 or 200 calories, which is really all you need to get your scale moving. By keeping calorie cuts moderate, your metabolism stays higher, which means you can eat more while still losing fat. But this video wouldn't be complete if we don't acknowledge one more big reason that I can eat more while losing weight, which is I'm just a bigger girl. Yes, I'm smaller than I used to be, but I'm still 5'7", I weigh 155 pounds, and I've spent the last 3 years building muscle, which means I need more calories to maintain a healthy weight than someone who's 5 foot tall and only 125 pounds. And all that is basic math. A bigger body requires more energy in order to function. So if you're comparing your calorie needs to mine and we are completely different sizes, that's exactly like comparing Taylor Swift's income to that coffee shop musician. My point is, you can't just look at me and say, well, you say you're eating 2,000 calories to lose weight, but you have to be lying because I eat 2,000 calories and gain weight. That's not the way this works. You have to earn your calories if you want to eat more while losing weight. If you don't move more, if you don't strength train, if you don't eat more protein, and you're not as tall as me with as much muscle, then no, eating 2,000 calories will not help you lose weight. But if you're willing to put in the work to build the muscle, get off your butt more often, eat strategically, and have a whole lot of patience, then you can absolutely earn the right to eat more food while weighing less. Now, if all of this is still confusing or seems impossible, check the pinned link for my personalized fat loss plan. When Kathy recently came to me because she wanted to eat more than the 1,200 calories that she felt like she's been barely surviving on for months, I set up the exact plan she needed to follow in order to eat more than 1,700 calories while finally getting results. And I can help you figure out your perfect plan as well. I wasted 30 years thinking that I was broken, that my body just didn't work like other people's. But the truth is, all anyone was teaching women to lose weight was how to starve yourself while ramping up cardio. But these days, I know better. And now, so do you. The coffee shop musician could become the next Taylor Swift, but she has to put in the work. The same goes for your metabolism. If you want to eat like someone who has a fast metabolism, then you have to put in the work to actually build it. If you're ready to stop starving yourself and start building a metabolism that works for you instead of against you, I'll show you exactly how to do that in this video. Watch this next so you can finally build a fat loss plan that's not only sustainable, but one that you will actually enjoy.